Afternoon. Here we are on a second week in December morning, so I've dispensed corporate livery for the necessity of keeping warm. We've got one of our little old friends here, the Honda CL350. They're one of my favourite bikes, as most of you will have recognised before, or as I may have mentioned before. They're beautifully engineered. They sold thousands and thousands of them in America. We never got them in the UK, and so they have a rarity value here that they don't perhaps have in America. But in terms of mechanically, they're beautiful little things. This is one that I've had for about a year. It's not run for I don't know how long. There are no stickers on it that might tell me the last time it ran. I know it was about a year before that I bought it, so it's probably not run for 10 or 15 years. But it's got some good bones. You know, you can see there's new coils on it there, so someone's loved it at some point. And what we're going to do, we are going to stick it up on the stand and see how long it takes me to get it going. Now, I had such confidence in this little bike that actually I've already done my brains in and had the tank painted, as you can see. So, you know, it's going to make a really bonny little bike. We'll have a little walk round it now. I'll see some of its good and bad points, and then we'll get up on the stand and see if I can get it going. Okay, so let's have a walk round it now. Okay, here's our little CL350, and from this distance it looks actually quite pretty. But let's get a closer in look and just see how nice it is. The chrome's not bad on the silencers. It's a bit flaky and rusty, but I think that'll clean off okay. The wheels, once again, there's some surface rust on them. I don't think they're too bad. There's the usual oxidation around the brake hub. The side panels I have off there, they're painted now, so that's just waiting for me to do the rest of it. It's quite clean, as you can see. A bit of rust around the headlamp bezel. And the fork legs have been painted with silver. That's really, really quite common and it won't take a lot of getting rid of. The wheels, they're quite nice. And the front wheel, let's give it a turn. Maybe there's the usual scabby bit at the bottom where it's been sitting, but as you see there, that's already coming off. So I think that really will clean up quite well, but we'll see. Once again, I don't know if you can see that fork leg is heavily scratched where someone's, I think, can you see that? I don't know. Yeah, it looks like someone's been trying to clean up with a rotary wire brush or something, and it's made a god-awful mess of the fork leg, but we'll polish that out, I think. I've got means of doing that, so we'll give that a whirl. Fork gears are quite nice. These need replacing, but they can be had quite cheaply. The stems, they might clean off, but I doubt it. Doesn't matter, they're not that expensive. In mileage terms, we have allegedly 13,000 miles, so a really low miles little bike if we can get it running. Top knot's a bit scabby. New coils, as we can see, which is nice, but perhaps indicative that someone's been poking about. The cabs have been off at some time. Somebody's put the wrong clips on there. Those are not the correct clips. So that's a little flag, but there's nothing here that's given me real warnings. You know, there's no gasket gunk poking out of there. These are all the original gasket edges. So this engine has never been down, I don't think, which is encouraging. That's discoloured, you know, the clutch cover's discoloured, but that'll polish. And then again, just the usual stuff to do here. So I'm not too discouraged with that. I'll come to this seat. No, I can't just now. I need to get the key. But once, you know, it's not such a bad looking little bike, and as I say, I feel it's got good bones. So we're going to pop up on the stand now. I'm going to put a new battery on it. We'll see if I can get some sparkles out of the ignition and get some fuel into it. I'll just see if it'll whiz up. Let's have a go. Right, I've got this little 350 up on the stand now. I've got a new battery on the bench behind me for it. This is absolutely genuine. I haven't done anything with this bike before. I have no idea if it's going to run or not, but I have confidence that I think it probably will. So I'm going to put this new battery on. We'll connect up a fuel supply to it. Doubtless we'll end up with fuel bouncing everywhere because that's the way of these things. So, but we'll give it a good whirl and let's just see if we can get a wee run out of it before it gets dark. It's about 3:30 in December, so it gets dark here not long after that really. So I've probably got half an hour to see if I can get it going. Not that it's a race, but it'd be nice to have a go. So let's do it right now. As I've said to you before, when you screw about for years with without a lift, and you're scrabbling about on your knees, and you get one, you just realise, what have I been screwing about at? Let's connect this up. So we get any sparkles. Believe it or not, we have an ignition light here, which we shouldn't have yet. So there's something adrift, but I can sort that out. And there's our first problem, the starter clutch isn't engaging. Okay, it's not the end of the world. Starter clutch is not a huge thing to repair. I don't know why we've got lights up already. We shouldn't have, but never mind. Okay, let's see if we've got a spark here. And you can usually hear a spark. You can hear the coils having a go. So let's have a look. And you can probably hear that. Okay, we've got a spark at both coils, at both points. Which probably means we've a spark at both sets of coils. So what I'll do, just out of interest, I'll pop that, I'll just pop a plug in there. Let's just see, I think I spark that plug on open the appropriate coil, open the appropriate points. Yes, we have indeed. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you the contact breaker points here are there, and when I flick that you can maybe hear the coil cracking, but you can see that's got a good. So what I'll do now, when I go like this, hope you can see that. So we've got a really cracking spark there. So that's a good thing. Making some progress. Let's put you back where you were. Hope you don't mind being carried. As I said before, used to be women we carried off. Now it's old blokes my age. Okay. I am now going to rig up a fuel supply, which is quite quickly done. This one has a feed for each carburettor. I'll put that there. And that one on that side. And it should thus supply both carburetors. Now I'll get some pongo and get that into the carbs and see if we can get it to do the do. this thing we've just seen about the starter clutch, it's not unusual for the starter clutch to be faulty in these old bikes, and what quite often happens is the idiot owner will just keep pressing and pressing and pressing until eventually, not only has he got a knackered starter clutch, he's got a burned out starter as well. So that's really more common than you'd expect. Okay, what we'll do, let's open the fuel tap here and let it fill the carbs up, see what comes out. I will open this carb drain here. Let's just let you have a look at that. There's a little drain in each carburettor on the float bowls. There. Where is it? There. So I'm going to open that now. I've got a weep there at that joint. I'm not hugely concerned about that just now. But let's open that, see if there's any fuel in the carburetors. And you can see that's dripping now, so that's not a bad sign. Okay, I'm going to switch that fuel back off just to reduce any fire risk. And then I'm going to put you back where you were. And I'm going to see if this will kick up. I'm being probably hopelessly optimistic, but I'm that kind of guy. Drink of tea first. In Britain you can't do anything without a drink of tea. That's what made the empire great. If it wasn't for tea, there'd be no empire. Has been out. I hope the thread isn't knackered. I haven't had that plug out, but someone's had it out. This is how genuine these wee vids are. Well, the thread's okay. Alright. In the absence of electric start, I was going to try and do it with a manual choke, but well, that is working okay. Let's see what happens. I've checked the oil already, which you would do first. Okay, I'm going to pop the carbs off and we'll have a look in the float bowls. There's only 5 minutes work to take them off. So I'm going to pop the carbs off, have a look in the float bowls and see what it looks like in there. Okay, sometimes trying to get one of these things going in front of you isn't always the cleverest way to do it, because while I was looking at the points, one thing I failed to notice was something I'll show you now. Yeah, sure, those are the wrong screws holding it together. But the sharp-eyed amongst you, when I was pointing it out earlier, may have noticed that little bolt is snapped off in there. That little bolt secures the advanced retard mechanism. And there is none. It seems it's been left off this bike. No wonder it's not going to fire up, because the points are not opening and closing. So, I've got to get an advanced retard mechanism. But being a forward-thinking guy, sometimes I happen to have one. And it's right here. And it's been lying, it's covered in dust, as you can probably see. But I bought this, it came up on eBay about 2 years ago. And I buy these things because you'll always need them at some point. And what happens to these, the springs get tired and people start bodging about with them, and the springs get stretched and people stick screwdrivers in them. And so the advanced retard mechanism doesn't work properly, and you find yourself with a bike that sets off a normal kind of pace, but then doesn't accelerate very quickly. Then all of a sudden, the weights fly open, the spark advances, and you're off like the clappers in. But then it sounds great, but then when you slow down, the spark is too far advanced, so it doesn't come down to a nice idle for you. So it's running far too fast for too long, and eventually it'll come down to an idle, or it maybe won't idle at all. So you've got that kind of that situation there, and that's what causes it. You know, the advanced retard springs are goosed. So I'll need to get that wee bolt out of there now in the end of the camshaft, and that's probably why this bike's been laid up, because someone snapped the bolt that holds the advanced retard mechanism into the end of the camshaft. So it's we'll get that out one way or another. I'll probably try and drill it and put a stud extractor in there and get it out. The alternative to that is, easy for me to say, the alternative to that is camshaft out and another camshaft in. I have a camshaft, but I don't want to change it. I'll get that stud out somehow. We'll put this in and we'll have a situation where the points are opening and closing as they should. So, back in a wee while. You heard me mention earlier about the starter clutch being faulty. You could hear the starter motor whizzing up, and then it wasn't spinning the engine over. Well, I thought I would, whilst I've got the engine, I've got the bike in bits, I've got the exhaust off now, so I can get in here, and you can see, I don't know if you can quite see there should be a little peg in the end of the camshaft at that point there. And what you can see is, sorry, that point in there should be a little peg in there, and the peg is missing, and there's a little bit out of the camshaft end there. Once again, it's not great, and you can see where the bolt is sheared off in there. But when I got down here to have a look at the starter clutch, what there should be there should be a gear there sitting on that spline, a gear and a chain running down to a hub which sits behind the starter. That's the starter clutch, sits in there. Well, there should be a hub sitting on the end of that supports the starter clutch, and that's all missing. Why anybody's put this back on afterwards and bolted it all back together, I really don't know. However, we know what ails us now and what we need to do about it. So I'll get a starter clutch and the chain and a little gear that sits on there, and hopefully we can get the starter motor working as it should as well. Hi guys, we've had a bit of luck since we last spoke, in that I managed to get the little grub screw out of the centre of the camshaft there, and this is it there. And I didn't want to film it because I didn't think it'd work, but I thought I'd have to end up drilling it out, but I didn't. So I used this. This is a centre punch. Some people call it a centre pop, but it's actually a centre punch. And I ground a very sharp point on it, and then I just managed to get the edge of the point on the edge of that screw, and it clearly wasn't bottomed into the bottom of the thread and snapped off, otherwise it wouldn't have come out. But I did manage to get it moving, and one way or another I just wriggled and kept it going until I could get hold of it with my fingers, and I got it out. So that's a great result. I don't need to take this off and pop the camshaft out and replace the camshaft or start drilling. You can drill it and put a stud extractor down, and it might work, but as often as not, you run a tiny bit off centre, and then if it is tiny bit off centre, by the time you get your stud extractor in, instead of pulling the broken stud out of the thread, it just kind of expands it into the thread, makes it even tighter, so you've got a real problem then. You end up drilling it or helicoiling or whatever. So I've got that out now, so real result. So the problem I had here was, as I pointed out to you, the starter clutch, which lives on the end of this, which is the generator rotor, was kind of stuck on there like that, and there's no mechanism there from the starter motor spline down there. So how does a starter clutch work? I'm going to show you now. Right, this is a starter clutch here. It's a Honda one from the same era, slightly different in that this is off, you can see the generator rotor there. This is a slightly bigger bike, it's off a 450. That's the generator rotor here off our 350, and the starter mechanism should be fastened onto the rotor thus. Now you can see there, there are some little rollers in there. And when the engine's running, that rotates, in this case, like that. And it just runs past those. It allows those to be depressed slightly, and that allows it to run. However, when the engine stops, you want to start it again with the start, and you try and rotate that this way, it won't let it, and it grabs that. It grabs the rollers and rotates the generator hub, and thus the engine, and you're away. So this one here is actually worn, and the starter hub, it does work, but not always, and when it actually comes under load, it just slips. So I'm going to get some new rollers and things in there, and the hub itself, that is actually quite nice. They can be quite damaged up, but that one's actually quite pretty. That's how they work. So I managed to locate a starter clutch for this. I'll have it here tomorrow. So with a bit of luck, we'll get this on tomorrow and we'll get a run out of it. So now that we've got that wee screw out of the centre of the camshaft, I can put the advanced retard mechanism on there. We can get it timed up. I can put the starter clutch on this, and with a fair wind, we'll get a run out of this. So let's keep pushing on. Cheers.